Welcome to the Point Noted podcast with your host, Johnny B, and co-host who shows up whenever he wants to, former NFL player, Rashad Barksdale. It's raw, unfiltered, and no topic is off limit. We talk sports, entertainment, culture, and a whole lot of random shit. Let's get to the point.
Point Noted podcast. You're hanging out with your host, Johnny B. And I got a special guest in the house tonight, man. I'm really looking forward to having this conversation. We got Barrington Martin II, straight from Atlanta, Georgia, man. Barrington, what's going on, my man?
Yes, sir, man. Everything's wonderful. How are you? How are you this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just had some French fries, so I'm in a comatose type of mood. That's how I relax. Somebody like to do something else. A little drinking and smoking. I just say, give me some fries.
On the carbs.
That's it, man. I can't do without my carbs, man. It's just been terrible. This COVID's got me looking fat.
Oh man, I really want to know. I'm very interested to see like how many pounds the average American has gained since we've been on lockdown, because I've heard people gaining like 20 pounds, since this has started, and that's a short amount of time when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a special individual to stay fit. I got a buddy of mine play soccer with him, so and it goes through about 28 miles every week that he's running. And I'm like, dude, I haven't run 2 miles since COVID started. How are you running 28 miles a week? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, this kid just won't stop running. So for me, I'm just like, man, I wish I have your passion to run. Like, I'm in here just eating and getting fat. I'm eating bread every day.
Oh, yeah, you deep in the carbs.
Man, I'm weak for the carbs, bro. I am so weak. You can offer me anything. Just give me some bread or some fries, and I'm yours.
I get it. I totally get it. I love French fries too, but I'm kind of a health freak a little bit, so I've been one of those people staying in shape throughout Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been like that too, but bro, I think I just give up, man.
I get it, because it's so easy to be comfortable, and then you don't have to go anywhere. So like when you get bored, sometimes you just eat for no reason.
Yep, that's it. I just be going through the cabinet. What's next? But the thing is, I'm not afraid of getting fat because that's not me. So I know that once we get out there, I'm usually getting about 10 miles worth of cardio every week. So for me, I feel like this is my time to eat and get fat.
Right.
So when we get out there, I'm hooping a couple of times a week, and I got soccer a couple of times a week, and I'm working out 4 or 5 days a week. So I'll get it back. It's just going to be a little work.
You get it back. You get it back. No big deal.
Yeah, it's going to be a little work, man. How you guys doing out in Atlanta with the COVID, man? You guys getting back, everything going back into normal, trying to a little bit?
So the city or our governor has opened up the state a little bit, like a phase 1, and Mayor Lance Bottom said she was we're gonna start phase 2, but our gyms aren't open yet, but they call it the essential businesses are open, so to speak.
Right. Essentials, right.
Yeah, but man, last weekend, man, people were partying crazy. Like I've seen videos of day party, like packed wall to wall, like bottle girls, hookah, and my city is a super hospitality city, so we're gonna always have restaurants open. We're always gonna have bars, clubs, even the strip
Right.
clubs were open this past weekend. Like I saw a video of someone taking video in the strip club, and I was just like, wow, like people just automatically say, Corona's over, we're back out here in these streets.
Right, and that's crazy though. Like I feel like what's really going on is I think folks are just confused, right? Everybody's confused as in, so you don't have a solution to COVID-19. We don't have vaccines. We don't have nothing. So, but you're telling me we have to stay in the house. Why are you trying to figure out how to cope with this thing, which you might not have a real answer for us for another 6 months to 8 months? So why are we staying in the house? Let's just go out there and just figure it out for ourselves. And I really feel like that's what's going on.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, I'm more so highly critical of our governments, both state and as well as federal, because the messaging hasn't been consistent,
Right.
Like for example, in a span of 10 days, Dr. Fauci said that, it would be irreparable damage if we opened up, too soon. But then 10 days later, He said that in front of the Senate hearings, and then 10 days later on an interview, he said that we can't close down for too long. Like it would be damaging if people stay inside for too long. So it's like, what's good? Like what's really going on?
Right, right, right. Yeah, I think definitely Fauci has different folks pulling strings behind the back.
Absolutely.
If it's up to him, I think he would come out there and just say, "Look, man, y'all need to stay the fuck inside and chill out." But you do that, he might get fired. So Fauci is just like, whatever. I'll talk when I can, and then because I mean, you can look at him, and you can tell he's just trying. He's trying to get it out, but he's really kind of handicapped a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then before we get to dip into it, man, go ahead and tell the folks who you are, what you're running for, and why you're running.
Okay. Again, listeners, my name is Barrington Martin II. I am born and raised from Atlanta, Georgia, and being that, I am running for the fifth congressional seat of Georgia, and the district mainly houses all of metropolitan Atlanta, with a couple of counties here and there. Um, I say I got my undergrad at Georgia State University, political science and bachelor's. I'm actually taking a break from my master's program in African
Mm,
American studies to run for Congress. So I think that's a cool thing too. The main reason I'm running is because it's time. It's time for my generation to take over the reins of the country. Congressman Lewis has done a great service. By Congressman Lewis to you all, I mean John Lewis. I keep forgetting that I gotta,
right,
gotta talk, speak like you guys know what I'm talking about. But the incumbent is Congressman John Lewis, as you know, is a civil rights icon, civil rights legend. He put his life on the line, so men and women like me, or just so I could have this opportunity to even be here right now, being able to run for Congress, which for that reason, I will always hold Congressman Lewis with extreme reverence and adoration. However,
right,
in his
right.
33 years of being a congressman, not many changes have occurred. He started his first day in Congress on January 3rd, 1987. I was
Mm,
born April 3rd, 1988. So he's been in office since I've been born. However, there hasn't been any distinct changes that have occurred within the city. If you check his congressional record, you can see that, outside of things here and there dealing with, civil rights or memorials, there hasn't been a substantial legislative victory that's come to our city. So I just feel that, he's done his work, he's done his due diligence, and he's done everything he could. However, it's time for a step in a new direction. And I'm
right.
here, to lead that cause, not just for myself and for my city, but for the rest of my generation and for the entire um, nation of America.
Right, and you know what? There's a lot of young folks running all across the country. I love it. I love the movement. I love seeing all the young people wants to get involved in politics. I think as young folks, we've talked and talked enough about what we wanted, and I think that change really started when Barack Obama got elected, when young folks got involved, and then Trump took over, and I think we felt like what, this is not the way we thought things was going to keep going. So we got to get back involved. But
Right.
rather than vote, we got to take office, right? I feel
Yeah.
like that's the wave that's going on right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's just like, how long, like just for example, within my city, like Congressman Lewis has been in office for 33 years. And that's
Right,
a long time.
right.
And at some point in time, not to mention, his tenure, but he's 80 years old. He also has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So as
Mm,
a people, it's kind of irresponsible to allow a man of his stature, a man of his magnitude, to continue to be in this position at his tender old age with his diagnosis. He should be somewhere, enjoying the rest of his years, enjoying the rest of his life. He shouldn't have to deal with, the effects of the coronavirus and the after effects that's going to take place with the coronavirus pandemic, because as we all know, life for all of us is going to be different when we emerge, from quarantine, so to speak. And so
yeah,
I'm just trying to deliver the message to everyone, especially in the district, but nationwide as well. It's time for us to take the reins of this ship, and the ship being the country, because as the generation that will end up inheriting the nation from our past ancestors and generation, we deserve to inherit the nation the way we choose to. And then we have so many problems along the horizon that's going to take modern day solutions. And it's time to just, tell all our past leaders to step aside and, allow the new generation to lead as I am confident as we can.
Right. So when did you launch your campaign?
Oh man, officially was probably the end of last year. It was I decided to run probably in the summertime, and then um, it was official probably the top of this year because you have to qualify and pay the money in order to get on the ballot. But I've
Right.
always known I was going to run for Congress about August of last year, July, August of last year. That's when I made it up in my mind.
So what did you have you run for small local offices? Have you run?
Not
Is this your first election?
This is my first election, first time. I'm a virgin in the game this time
So you
around.
just you just keeping lines, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, I see myself as a smart guy, and I feel like I have foresight to understand problems and understand situations. I'm a critical thinker.
Right.
The reason I say
Right.
this is because oftentimes, especially within the Black community, we are reactive, meaning that something has to occur first in order for us to make a change with it. But I want to totally remove that from our psyche as a community and just as a nation in general, because I feel like America has always reacted instead of being proactive in preventing situations from occurring so that people won't suffer. And I feel that a lot of the ideologies I have, a lot of the ideas I have, and just my overall mentality, I'm bringing something new that the country hasn't, even the world, I feel like hasn't really seen before. And the beauty of my campaign is that I've been on my team. I've been able to combine like so many different people from so many different areas. For example, I have people who are Bernie Sanders supporters on my team. I have people who are Andrew Yang supporters on my team. I have people who are Joe Biden supporters on my team. I even have people who are Trump supporters on my team. But yet and
Mm.
still, everybody is able to agree under specific principles and ideologies that we all feel that would deliver a better future to America and to society in general.
Do you feel like do you feel like folks taking you serious?
People are
Being
taking.
that
Go ahead.
being that is your first time running, and also being that you're running against a legend, and as people sometimes we really don't want to see legend fall.
Absolutely.
So right, so they probably rather have him retire, and also being that you don't have any background in politics. Do you feel that?
At first I did, but then I raised like good points to people. Like I always put like, starting out like the very first couple of months, oh, it's always, who do you think you are? Or why do you feel like you can run against a legend of John Lewis? But then I replace, I put the onus back on themselves, on them. And I ask you, okay, so when you vote for John Lewis, what are you voting for? Give me one legislative victory that has occurred that he has, been a part of that has been a major win for the city. And all the while, they cannot give me anything. And so
Right,
that's how I totally take away their offense and take away the fact of me having being defensive, because I realize I don't have to be defensive about it, because once you look at the stats, look at the history, look at the numbers, and you start realizing that, oh man, like based on everything that's been going on, I get that he doesn't have experience, but if he does even one, if he has one major victory, he's already done a lot. He's already done a lot for us and so much for us. And again, this isn't any disrespect or negative talk to Congressman Lewis, because, like I said, total love, respect, and adoration for him at all times. However, I'm not here to run against him. I'm here to run for the people of my district, for the city that I was born and bred from for the city I love, for all my family that still stays within the district and neighborhoods that have been forgotten about, who don't really get the resources like high income communities. Like I got skin in the game, and this is why
right,
all this is so important to me. And when people listen to me and hear me talk, they become instant believers.
right. Do you feel like people are behind you, being that you are from the city? I mean, you can easily go to your former high school and put a poster up, and obviously no one's on campus right now, but you can go to your Georgia State and have that in a Georgia State newsletter or whatever it is that for the student cats. Do you feel like locally, being that you are from there and you have skins in the game, at least in the city, do you feel like you're getting that local support, or do you feel like people are still looking at you like nah, John, John's a legend, a civil rights legend. He walked with this and he walked with that. Do you get that, or you feel like you're starting to get more crowd on your side?
I get a little bit of both, I get a little bit of both because, and that's why I'm just trying to change the whole dichotomy of how we as blacks, view our heroes and how we look at progress. It's like, and this is, no offense to our people, but it's so easy for us to get caught up in the celebrity and the things that people have done in the past.
Mm,
Essentially, I feel like we have to possess, Janet Jackson type mindset in what have you done for me lately? Because although you marched with MLK, you put your life on the line, and again, America owes John Lewis a debt that the country is unable to repay. But at the same time, withholding an esteemed position like being a congressman is, excuse me, when when you haven't put forth the victories the people needed, or you haven't like bettered the lives collectively of the people within the district, the people start has to begin to ask the questions or begin, just to be honest about the situation and say, hey, we respect who you are, we respect what you've done for us, but we've been looking at the congressional record and it doesn't look too good. It's time to give the reins up to somebody else, especially someone younger. Like, for example, when you look at the stats, the age statistics of Congress, the median age is like the middle, like mid 60s, early 70s, right? But if you look at
hmm
the median age of America, it's like mid 30s. That's a clear indication that there's something going on there. Like there needs to be a changing of the guard. Why do we have people like of the elderly age representing and speaking on the behalf of people in their mid 30s? That's not right.
Right,
You know,
right, and I have a problem with that as well. I've had candidates up here, and I always bring that up, the term limit, and I know that's one of the things that you have on your platform is term limit.
absolutely,
I
absolutely,
always feel like it shouldn't. I mean, I feel like back in the days, and the OC always said this, like the whole goal of politics going to Washington was to kickstart something and then get out of there. It was not a retirement home. It was not for you to go there and then just lay your bed and sleep there till whenever, like you're like 80 or whatever, to get out of there. Go there 8 years, 6 years, get out of there. That's how you run a proper government, right? So speak on that term limit that you have on your platform.
absolutely. Term limits is a big deal to me because I feel that if I do what I'm supposed to do, I honestly say that it will not take me more than 5 terms to get where I need to get done to move on to the next.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a lifetime appointment in Congress. There's no such things as a lifetime appointment even with the presidency. I even have a problem with the Supreme Court justices having lifetime appointments because you gotta people tend to not understand how detrimental someone being in our or making decisions for the people too long is. Because let's be real. We have people in Congress and in the Senate right now who were damn near teenagers during times when black people were getting lynched during Jim Crow,
Right.
and a lot of those ideologies, even though the time has changed, a lot of those ideologies remain in a lot of those people. Now, I'm not saying,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that like a specific congressman or a senator is racist, but it's very well possible that they can be because they were they were conscious of right and wrong. They were conscious of the times that they were living in back then, and now in the future or now you have these same people who are our lawmakers who are making decisions for us, and then we still wonder why a lot of progress hasn't been made in society, and we have to look at all those things. So term limits is one of my biggest proponents of my platform because it just keeps democracy fresh, and that's important
Right.
you know
Right. And honestly, I feel like that about everything in life. Besides your kids and your family members, I feel like anything you have to go into that involves other people, that involves contracts. I mean, look at it. We do the same thing for our house, our car. Education is not forever. You go in there, you get it for 4 or 5 years, whatever, how long it takes you, you're out.
Absolutely.
If you're a president, you got 4 years, then you got to run again. Then after that, you're done. So I totally agree with you on that. I'm absolutely a big advocate in that. Like, I don't understand how you can go to Congress at 35 or 45 and be there till you're like 85.
Right.
Nothing changes. I mean, Mitch McConnell's there, Lindsey Graham is there, and they're terrible. They really are.
Yeah.
Uh, and I know Charles Booker's out there in Kentucky running against them, and all that kind of stuff. And I really just hope they can make a really beautiful transition into getting rid of some of these old folks and just get some new bloods in there.
Absolutely.
Um, and you mentioned racism, and it's been a sad couple of days in America for at least for the black community.
Right.
Uh, and I know some white folks, some white citizens actually, they do mourn with us. I mean, they feel our pain just from the human side of things. And there are those, and I've seen this coming a lot. Like, well, he must have been doing something for the police officers to be stepping on George's neck, and things like that. So, I'll let you speak on that a little bit because I know you guys have something like that with Ahmaud
Right.
Aubrey out there in Georgia as well. Go ahead.
Right. So, yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks, man, and I hate it in the sense that every time a black man gets killed unlawfully, someone has video of it, which is a problem with it itself. But I'll get back. I'll circle around back to that. But it's just that the media makes money off of black trauma, and this is why we like it's we becoming so desensitized to see black men dying on film, and that's ridiculous. And that goes to show how much of the status quo within America is embedded within racism. I've been preaching this like since probably my sophomore year of college, and just understanding critical race theory, understanding ideologies of racism, and that is American jurisprudence and society itself is entrenched within racism. And we see this with our statistics dealing with incarceration. We see this with our statistics regarding poverty and the wealth gap that's current within America. And so, um, in order for us to actually change the scope of society, we have to like really, really change how we interact with one another as far as having empathy and compassion. One of the main reasons I think that racism exists is because we lack, not just, I mean us collectively, we lack empathy and compassion as a nation. Oftentimes, people see these injustices take place, and because it's not them directly, they feel like, hey, it has nothing to do with me. I'm fine. No one's doing that. And what goes on is that these things spiral on the outside, and excuse me, spiral out of control. And this is why we continuously have these problems that we have. I feel that in order for us to get past it, in order for us to create the future that our founding fathers believed that we should have, we have to be honest and we have to call out things. And first and foremost, we have to call out that the very fabrics of our society, the very fabrics of America, is based in racism. Once we
Mm,
understand that, then we can move forward.
conversation. Right.
Until that conversation is had on a like a world stage or the mainstream, then we're gonna
Right.
always deal with these problems. I'm tired of marching. I'm tired of putting these men and women in hashtags because we do this every year and it continues to happen. This goes to show that these archaic, mindsets, civil rights era ideologies that we continuously try to bring to the present and even to the future, it's not going to work. Black lives are still going to be lost unlawfully and unjustly. You know, we have to hold each other accountable, and by that I mean we have to call out injustices. We have to hold our government officials accountable, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to move forward like we should. But until that happens, every year we're going to continue placing someone's name in the hashtag. We're going to continue doing all of these things for moral victories that does not amount to what we need or the necessary solutions that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, I'm with you on some of the points that you made. But I think, they always say like desperate time calls for desperate measures. I think one of the things that we have to improve on is we have to be willing to sacrifice. Because I mean, you're very good with your history. You're an intelligent guy,
Thank you.
and you know the history very well. That in order for us to even make any progress forward, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, they had to sacrifice. They have to be willing to go through something, to go through the fire in order to make a point. And what I mean by that is I feel like as black community, we don't do enough to say, you know what, like, look, if somebody get killed, absolutely we have to have a hashtag because we need to bring attention out there. People need to know this just happened. This is why it happened. We have it on tape. But my thing is, Like this whole protest going on, this is beautiful. It's nice, but
Yeah.
it can't stop. It can't stop tomorrow. It can't stop next week. It's like when they talk about Amazon employees complaining about not getting money. Well, if all of y'all just work out together and just decided we're not going back to work for a week, guess what? Jeff Bezos not going to be happy with that pocket getting light. It'll fix it. So we have to be willing to lose something and sacrifice. And I think black folks have to be willing to get out there and just say, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to be out here for a month. We're going to be out here for 6 months, for a year, whatever it takes until we get this fixed. Walking and marching for a week, in my opinion, this is nothing. We see it every time, like you said. We do it every single time it happens. Nothing gets done. So we got to do more. That's the way I see it. I feel like we have to do more.
I agree.
We just have to. And I saw a video of them looting today, and it just drives me nuts. Like, why are you breaking into Target and stealing things? Like,
that doesn't get the job done. That doesn't get the job done.
No. I mean, we out here trying to get attention to something bad that happened, and y'all taking advantage of it and start looting stores and breaking in and stealing things. Like, how do we go from fighting for justice to stealing?
Right.
Like what the hell is going on with that? And I don't understand it. For whatever reason, once a white man or a police officer look at a black man, automatically they don't see life, and that's a problem. And I know you mentioned we have to have a conversation about it, but I just don't see that conversation happening. Do you? I don't. I don't see the conversation happening because there's denial out there. People are denying there's a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. People love, like I said, if it doesn't affect them personally, then they tend to turn a blind eye to it. But I just feel like we haven't had that discussion on a grand stage. Like when President Obama got elected, people wanted to say that, oh yeah, we live in a post-racial society. But a lot of people couldn't wait till he got up out of the office, just so they can allow things to, open quotes, turn back to normal, close quotes. Like it's ridiculous. Like I really, really feel that these conversations aren't happening the way that they need to be happening, because if they did, then it would possibly change the way we look at things. But I'm in total agreement with what you're saying. We as a people have to do our due diligence. What we end up doing all the time is that we don't put enough emphasis on doing the work that we need to do with each other. And by that, I mean is we have power in voting. We have power in assembling. We have power in numbers. And we're sometimes too divisive. We got to become clicked up based on like certain identities that we possess. And by that I mean, you have your LGBTQ. You have like so many different factions of Black people. But instead, at the end of the day, life has taught us it doesn't matter what you identify as long as you're Black, you're still going to be behind the 8 ball within this status quo that we exist in.
Absolutely.
So, it's time for us not to be separated, and we have to like come together and utilize the powers that we have. Like oftentimes or recently, you've heard, a lot of people talk about the Black agenda, and then that's understandable. But yet, what is our Black agenda? What do we want? Do we even know what we want? And these are the type of conversations that I feel like that need to be had on a grand stage. And it's not happening. And when it's not happening, you continuously get all of these tragedies that continue to occur. Continue to occur within our neighborhoods.
Right. So where do we start? Like, where do we? Because, like you said, we didn't have the conversation on the grand stage. It can't be CNN because they're biased as fuck. No one would have took them seriously unless they're having someone actually important on the show. Right. It can't be Fox News either because they're just as retarded. So it can't be Fox. So where do we go with this? Like, how do we start? Who needs to lead a conversation like this? And who are the people that we need to bring to the table to have this conversation? It can't be Cornel West. It can't be Dr. Umar Johnson.
Right.
Dr. Umar.
Right.
I mean, it can't be any of these extreme guys, right? So who do we bring to the table? If you got to look at names out there in both sides, black and white and whoever it is, Who do you think we need to put out there to start this conversation off?
Man, to be honest with you, I don't even think we should look for leadership. I think that leadership has to come from each other or within. For example, um, like one of the things I always preach about is like self love, because if you don't really love yourself, how are you going to be able to love somebody else? And when we are able to understand what we want for ourselves, understand what we need for ourselves, then we can kind of create a large picture for our communities. Because, like I've always said as well, great communities build or end up being great nations, and we have a lot of multifaceted works to do within our communities. And so let's for example, let's take because I actually just wrote a black agenda this last couple of days that I think that will work out. So for example, one of the biggest issues that's like killing our people is criminal justice and
Right,
just overall how we're viewed as society. Personally, I feel that all black people have to be a protected class. That's the only way you can like stop a lot of the violence that occurs to us as a people. We have to be considered a protected class. It's
hmm.
about time, because
Interesting.
too many people get away with like murdering or ending a black life. Like they get a slap on the hand, and that's not right. That's one of the very first things I think that needs to happen, because the way that just watching that video of Mr. Lloyd and the way the officers were just looking at the officer, kneel on his neck that way while he's handcuffed. Why doesn't an automatic trigger go off in someone's head like, "Hey, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that."
Right,
You know,
right,
and that's what I'm saying. In our communities, but just like anything dealing with black people in the world, people watch all of these horrific things happen to us, and what do they do? The only thing they do is pull out their phones and share it. That is it. That's
right.
ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's a problem. That shows me, or it's a direct indicator that there's something wrong in our society, and
But
we
at that moment, though, there's nothing they can do. So you might as well get evidence just in case, because police would deny it. Police would say he hit him first, or he pull out a gun, or you trying to grab their gun. And I think the reason why they do that, I don't mean to cut you off on that.
are good.
Um, the reason why they do that is to like help that individual, that victim, to be able to fight the police institution once that is over. Otherwise, your word against three officers, yeah, nobody's hearing it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, even when they have videos, they're still denying it. So, and I think that's all that is. Just listen, you see the cop and the black person having a conversation, good or bad, you never know. Pull out your phone and start recording, because you never know how it's going to turn out. So, but go
Absolutely.
ahead. I do like the black agenda you mentioned,
Yes.
protect the class.
Here's the thing.
I
So
don't
here's
see that happening though. I don't see that happening. I don't see white folks voting for black folks to be protective class. But I love the idea.
Yes, I mean that needs to happen. Another thing, as far as on a criminal justice aspect, I feel like, especially in Black communities, I feel like you should not be. It should be a rule on all police departments that if you don't live in a specific neighborhood, you can't police that neighborhood for two
Mm,
reasons. I feel that if you're from that neighborhood, you have mingled with the people. Therefore, like when there is any type of issue, not to be excessive, because you know who the people you're dealing with. However,
mm,
if you live in that neighborhood, if you put the badge on and you live in the neighborhood and you do something crazy, when you take the badge off, you still have to answer to your community. There is no type
mm-hmm.
of accountability in the police force, especially when it comes to white men doing any type of damages to the black community. There's like it's like I said, it's a slap on the wrist. Let's go back and look at Amar Arbery's case. We didn't find out about this till March, and this happened in February. Not to
Right,
mention the DA didn't even make any arrests at the time. And you know how, and this is why I say we have to be accountable for each other and accountable to our governments. Like I was seeing people on social media saying, "Oh, the DA needs to be fired. They need to be resigned and all, that stuff." But I'm like, no, they need to be locked up, because they're an accessory to murder. Like they
right,
just swept it under the rug, and there's no telling how long that video was out before it got leaked to the media.
right, right,
And that's what I'm saying. Like there needs to be structural changes in society before we even get to the policies and the politics, because there is not one politician, there's not one like political legislation that's going to be able to change or make the change that we need. We got to change amongst each other, and that's why I say that like the black community has to be accountable for holding their government accountable. We got to get involved. We got to ask questions. We got to make demands. All these things put together can transform our society into a society that's beneficial for everyone, and it will finally allow us to get out of just the structural and the mental bondage that we've been in all these years.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like we're so far behind the eight ball, man. I don't even know where to start. I mean, because black. Look, I do agree with you. We have to do more. We have to do more. America as a whole is a selfish society, and I keep saying that.
Yep.
It's a me world. So no one really cares as long as it doesn't affect them personally. The human side of us is why we react when we see people get killed unnecessarily, right? That's why we feel bad about it. That's why we sad and we deeply hurt, just because we are humans and we have feelings,
Right.
For a fellow human being. But other than that, it's just a selfish society. No one really give a shit about the other person.
Right.
I'm like, so I'm trying to get my own bread. I'm trying to eat. I don't care. That don't affect me. I'm working. I'm making $30 an hour. I pay my taxes. I got a decent crib. I got a nice car. I'm good. So, y'all don't like what's going on. Y'all go ahead and fight it. That's exactly what the problem is, right? So the unity is not there. I don't see it happening. Like I said, until we do extreme things such as rioting for 6 months, such as every black person out there walking out of their jobs, or doing something extreme that actually affects everybody all the way to the top of the chain, nothing gets solved, nothing gets done. And I hate to be the pessimist about it, but I just don't say it because white America don't care. They just be like, they'll be quiet in a week or two, whatever, lock the cops up and everybody stop talking. And unfortunately, that's sad, but that's how I think it is,
Right. This is why I'm a big believer in this. It's a segue. It's a great segue. This is why I believe that my two main policies within my platform are universal guaranteed income and universal
I
health
like
care.
it. Right.
Okay,
I like it.
universal guaranteed income was recently championed by Andrew Yang, but
Right.
it's been around for a long time, but it became to prominence through Martin Luther King Jr. and he was going to implement this within his Poor People's Campaign as well as his economic Bill of Rights. Now, for those who don't know what universal guaranteed income is, I won't get directly like deep into it, but basically you'll get a monthly dividend from the government for the rest of your life, and it's for everybody.
I need that money.
Absolutely, right? And so then I wanted to pair this or place this policy with universal health care. And by universal health care, I mean that you have options. You can continue. Basically, wait, let me say this. Healthcare prices or costs should be substantially lower. It should not be as expensive as what it is. But with universal healthcare, I want to provide a free option for those who don't, have a job, or for like those who don't can't pay for it, or those who choose not to pay for it. There needs to be a free option for it, and I want to remove the need to have a job for healthcare because that itself is ridiculous.
Right.
Combine universal healthcare, combine universal guaranteed income, and what happens is you have the beautiful marriage of two policies that will it's called the people's bailout, right? So, like you said, why can't black people just walk off their jobs? Because we need money. Let's be honest, we need money.
Right.
When you look
Right.
at the stats, we're at the bottom of the barrel because we're most of like you look in all the inner cities, we're the main demographic that's in poverty, right? So
Right.
let's say, for example, in a perfect world, we were able to have universal guaranteed income and we were able to have universal health care. Now, the people finally have the agency to make decisions of their own life. So let's look at it like this. Say your boss isn't treating you well, you starting to hate your job, it's starting to take a toll on your health. One, you already have healthcare. So if you want to just walk out of your job, you can. Two, you have that $1,000 coming in monthly. So now you're able to be flexible because you don't have to worry about or you don't have to make sacrifices or even sacrifice your own mental health and be like, I hate this job, but I gotta pay bills. Let me go into it and let me suck it up. And oftentimes, especially in our community, stress kills us. Poverty kills us, and that's
Right.
not something we talked about enough. So you give people the people's bailout, and you're gonna watch a society transform itself, because now these people who have been left out and have not been able to have the resources that they need, they now have the resources. They now don't have to worry about healthcare. They now have a nice security blanket in universal guarantee income to make decisions that are going to better them. And so just think about the wonderful things that can occur with the people's bailout. If a group
Right.
of workers want to get it, want to unionize, they can put their money together and not have to worry, because that same amount is coming back next week. We got community economics that we can buy back our communities. Like, it's so many things that can emerge from that. And like you said, I totally agree. Like, unless something major happens, that's the only way change will occur. But there needs to be the necessary institutions or policies in place to give people that agency that they need to move around. But until that is occurred, in order for that to happen, we have to be much more of a participant within our democratic process, and that's something that we don't normally do. And I get it, because you know um, a lot of things haven't been for us. We've been made promises that haven't been followed through with. We've been lied to for years now. But in order for us, to become empowered, we have to realize that freedom isn't given. Freedom isn't free. You know, we got to make
Right.
the sacrifices, like you said.
Absolutely. Sacrifices at all time. Got to make sacrifices. If you're giving somebody $2,000 a month in UGI, uh, do we need to require that they do some sort of work? Because
No,
there are folks
no,
out there that would make 2 grand and they'll be just fine to not do any work.
and that's on them. And that's the thing. That's why I say, like, again, we have to go back into restructuring the way we view each other in society. Like, let's be honest, 2 months, two grand a month is $24,000 a year. That's way above the poverty line, which is good. But if that's what
Right.
you want to do, that's what you want to do. That's how I see it. But we oftentimes get caught up into these arguments that, oh, well, what if people don't want to work, or it's going to slow down the economy. Well, as we've seen with this entire pandemic, people spending money makes the economy go.
Right.
It's not if people working in it. No, 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 no. It's people making money, and that's why it really used to perturb me how politicians would say, "Oh, people are ready to get back to work." No, people just want the capital to be able to pay their bills. You know,
Right.
and that's why I feel like the government dropped the ball within this entire pandemic, because no way in the world should you make your citizens choose between their health or their livelihood. If anything, we could have had UGI started at the beginning of this, and the government could have been like, "Hey, we want to, lower the curve. We want to flatten the curve. We're going to pay you to stay at home." Boom. You did that. You would have took care over all these Americans who are filing unemployment, of all these
Mm.
Americans who are starving right now, who
Right.
like you could have took care of that a long time ago. But we are ran under a government, under a society that's controlled by money and
Right.
controlled by finances. And so at some point in time, a while back, the capitalists figured out that they didn't have to be in political positions to get power. All they had to do was use their
Absolutely.
money to influence the laws, and that's what lobbyists have been doing for the longest. And people in Congress and the Senate have been taking money from lobbyists to make their wishes come true, and have alienated their constituency in the process.
Right. Absolutely. Money talk. Money talk. OC and I would look at. I mean, I think he would have loved to be part of this conversation, uh,
Absolutely.
but he can't make it, so sucks for him. Uh, but we used to talk about how you get to Congress and you look at Nancy Pelosi. I think she's worth about, I don't know, $20 million.
No,
But
no, no,
there's
no,
no.
no. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Nancy is worth nine figures, hundreds of millions of dollars.
You see that? You see what I'm saying? Like, we know you're not making down your salary in the Congress, and if you work in the Congress, there's no other job that I mean, like, this is all lobbyists' money. This is all corporation money going in the pocket to control how she vote and the bills that she put up. So, I mean, it's really hard to make changes when that kind of money is involved, right?
Right.
What can we do? What can we do? Because I ask guys like yourself that come in here that are being funded by the people. It's you got to climb such a big ladder to fight someone else that's got support of the corporations and the super PAC money and all this money, and you being funded by the people. That slows you down for one, right? Because you can't get out there, you don't have all the financial support that you need. And
Absolutely.
then let's say you actually have a good race and you make it out there. Now you got to deal with selling your votes, because when they start throwing the money at you, how do you say no? And I asked somebody the other day, I said, look, you get down there, and somebody said, look, we got to vote for this bill. We these lobbyists are giving us like an extra $200,000 each, so we got to vote the same way. I don't blame them for saying, you know what, sure, give me that money. That's more than they're making every year, right?
Right.
It's the money. The money talks, so they take the money. You know what I mean? So, but I gotta ask you these though. So, you've been in this election now for a little bit. What is one thing that you've learned since you've been campaigning? Like, what have you learned? What have you seen that you'd be like, okay, I didn't know this before I got into it? Like, what have you learned so far?
Oh man, that's a great question. I learned so much. I will say that this is totally not politically related, but this is like one of the biggest lessons I've learned. A lot of people that claim to be your friends or claim they support you really don't support you at all.
Hmm. I see.
Um,
Right.
yeah, like I learned that that's probably the biggest lesson that taught me.
Right.
That's probably huge. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned because it's with that being stated, it's easy to become disappointed, but you really just gotta press through and just realize that you have no control over human beings and how they feel or what they think. It is what it is.
Do
But
you think, do they not believe you can do it? Do they not take it serious? Or because we tend to have this thing where until you're shining, no one wants to be part of that, right?
yeah,
Like when you grinding, you know what I'm saying? When you in the gym working on that jumper, you know what I'm saying? Like Rick Ross said, you weren't with me in the gym. You know what I'm
right,
saying? You weren't shooting with me. You know what I'm saying? Like no one really, so they don't really see that, and they're not trying to, like, when you call them in the morning and say, "Hey, 6 a.m. Man, let's go to the gym, let's get some shots out." No one's, man, I gotta go to bed. I'm sleeping, man. Let's do it at noon, right? They don't
right.
support that. But then when they see you out there and you start making waves and you get into the league, it's like, oh yeah, man, let me rebound for you, man. When you want to go work out, let me spot you. Is that what it is though? Because I think about the same thing sometimes, is do they not support you, or do they just don't see it yet?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think like it's so easy. It's so easy to support somebody when they're up and they're winning. It's
Exactly, right.
like human nature always inspires us to want to be with a winner, but there's a special percentage of us who don't mind carrying those heavy loads and don't mind making those sacrifices to get on that side. What I've come into contact with is just people will support you, but then they'll stand back and they'll look at everything they've done or they're doing, and then they'll be like, well, like for example, people are like, well, what makes you think you can run against like John Lewis, or why didn't you start small? Well, my retort is always, well, why wouldn't I? Like I feel this I feel this way about myself. Like I feel I deserve this. Not to mention, like I feel that I can bring a lot to the table, way more than what's been done. And automatically they look at you like you're cocky, arrogant, conceited, just because you feel this way about yourself. And
So,
that's it baffles me. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And I feel like I don't want to say that it's a crab in a barrel mentality because I don't necessarily feel that way, but I do
right,
feel like when people really see that you're doing something or making waves, it tends to make them put the mirror on themselves and really look at what they're not doing when it's not even about that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And I feel
right.
I feel like that happens a lot. Besides that though, the other thing that I realized that I didn't what I knew this but I didn't know, excuse me, was just how deep money is into politics.
Yes.
Oh my
Money
God, man. Like,
talk, brother. Money talk, my man.
man. So it costs 5 grand to run for Congress in my state, in Georgia.
Hmm.
In other states it costs 10 grand, right? So it's also the way the system is made up. It's made for you to, if you don't have money, you know what I'm
You
saying?
can't
If
run.
you don't have
Right.
money, then you're going to be SOL. But what people don't really understand is, like I said, like a long time ago, people figured out, like, man, wait a minute. If I need something to happen, if I want to be powerful, I ain't gonna be in politics. All I gotta do, excuse me, is hit this congressman, this senator, this vice president, this president, even with money, support them
Right.
financially, and they're gonna make everything I want happen.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, man. But you do understand though, like, because I think I get it. If it's free, everybody's running. You're gonna be dealing with 100 ballots, 100 campaign candidates. Everybody wants to run because it's free. I mean, the dude who working at McDonald's right now will put an application in. Doesn't mean he can't make a great case for himself, but we do know sometimes you got to get through that door for you to speak, right?
right,
So
right, right,
if the door is open, everybody's walking in. But if you
right,
can get your way through that door, just go back to playing ball, right? You got to show yourself in practice. You got to get your way on that team and show your stuff for coach to take you serious. So,
right.
but I get it. I mean, it is a lot of money, but in a way, I do understand you got to put that money up there, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Always, always. But I just feel like that, the money shouldn't stop progress from doing the job that needs to be done. And at the end of the day,
right,
it's about helping the people and it's about bettering the nation. But what we're
right,
saying is to the people who are in charge of top, and I think this is another thing that too I realized that like once you hit a certain tax bracket, in my mind, life becomes easier because it's expensive as hell to be poor. But
right,
as soon as you get like you hit a certain tax bracket, and this is why
right,
the rich are this is why the rich are continuously to build their wealth because there's so many loopholes as to how you can keep money and how you can build on that money. You know
oh,
what I'm saying?
absolutely, absolutely,
And it's just been amazing to see that basically like a lot of these incumbents they have such a war chest that they can just move their weight around. Just
right.
move their weight around like any way they want to. And
Oh
it's really
yeah,
fascinating.
oh yeah. If you make less than 100 grand, IRS can see it all. They you can't even hide. You can't even hide $500. You
Facts.
know, I remember one year I didn't even make a whole lot, and I was getting letters talking about you ain't pay your taxes. Yeah, I was like, bro, I ain't got it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that took a while. I had to pay that up quickly. So they'll find you if you make less money, but
Yeah.
you start making that money like you said. You can work around it. That's why you got your accountant. That's why you have your financial advisors. That's why you have all these big money folks that knows how to manipulate the whole. And it's not illegal, obviously. It's just knowing the loopholes and knowing how to attack it.
Right.
So, but I mean, 5 grand just to run, that's a lot of money. But I wonder if you can go to the bank and ask for a loan to run. I wonder if that would be something that's allowed, uh, for candidates, or if banks will look fairly and, kind of lenient towards that.
I don't think so. I don't think that's because if that's the case. I feel like if you had great credit, you probably could ask for like some nice substantial amount and go from there. But I don't think you're not supposed to do that. To
Okay.
be honest, I
Yeah.
gotta double check that. I don't know. I don't think that's legal, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I've never run yet, but listening to you, I might have to go put an application in. Like, hey, let me run for local council. I think I got to start small. Get to know folks around. But to kind of bounce off to some a little more light and some a little more fun before
Right,
we wrap up with more politics stuff.
right, right, right.
Let's talk some sports stuff, man. I gotta ask you this: Did you watch The Last Dance?
Absolutely, man.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. What did
Yeah.
you take out of that? What keys and things did you learn or take out of that?
I took out everything that my father taught me when I was a little kid, is that you're not gonna make any friends on the route to greatness, and you have to be relentless,
Right,
and that to be the best, the absolute best, the um, undoubted best. You have to do things that people don't want to do, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with
right,
that. It depends on what, like you said earlier, what sacrifices you want to make in order to get the things you want to get.
right, right. Absolutely. I mean, I love it. Watching MJ, I love it. There's nothing like playing with winners. I mean, I've always loved winners. I don't care. I don't care who you are. If you want to win and you play hard, I'm all about that. Uh,
Absolutely.
I mean, I just watching MJ say, listen, I'll do whatever it takes. You look at me the wrong way, now you're gonna lit some fire up inside of me.
Right.
I don't know any man that can do that besides him. Which leads me to the conversation of the whole MJ versus LeBron thing. Personally, I don't think there's a conversation to be had about it. I don't think we need to compare them. But I'll let you talk about that. I'm not sure where you stand on the whole LeBron and MJ thing. Go ahead.
Well, no. Before I start, let me ask you, like, how do you feel about LeBron first and foremost? And I don't mean off the court. I mean strictly on the court. How do you feel about LeBron?
So I'll give you a little background on that for me. As a Kobe fan, I hated LeBron.
Okay.
Hated because I felt like they were pushing my head of Kobe when I didn't think he was ahead of him yet.
Right.
And as a Kobe fan, I think most Kobe fan would tell you probably is why we hate LeBron. But when he went back to Cleveland, kind of just watching more from a objective standpoint, I respected his game. Like I see the greatness when I watch him play. So, and I'll tell people every time to the day, I'm not a LeBron fan, but I respect his greatness. I absolutely, I take nothing away from the way he plays, but I would never forgive him uh, for people putting him over Kobe. Never forgive him for that. Well, unless it comes to the show, then yeah, we're gonna be cool. But until that happens, but I respect his game. He's great. I think he's gonna finish as a top 5 of all time if he's not there yet. But I'm not sure what he has to do to get over Mike. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of people still ahead of him. If you put him in 5, I think I'm okay with that. But I don't think it should be more than higher than 5 right now. But we have to see where he ends up. If he get 2, 3 more rings, then I can push him up there behind Mike. But until then, for me, I'll keep him in the top 5. He's up there, I think, but nothing higher than that right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. Okay, this is my thing with LeBron. I don't think the GOAT could be 3-6 in the finals. I don't think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think the GOAT could, be so, uh, easily to give up the ball in clutch moments.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Um, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like LeBron totally to me exceeded his expectations coming into the league. He didn't. I have to give him that. I have to give my hat off to him because that's a hard. It's very hard to be called the next big thing and actually be that, but actually supersede that.
Right.
Um, you know, um, I can't give it up to LeBron because he doesn't have a defensive player of the year. Mike has that.
Mm.
Um, just
Multiple times.
Yes, and it's just multiple things. Like it's just Mike's whole mentality and his whole approach to the game that just like I just love that aspect. And a lot of people don't understand, or like I feel like this is a missed thing from that whole documentary, and people miss beyond everything on the court, off the court, the thing that separated even Mike, Scotty, and Dennis, the thing that separated them from a lot of players these days is that they possess that like legendary focus, man. There's like Dennis Rodman went out and partied and came back and like got
And
24.
play.
That
Yep.
should show you the way, like that should show you just how serious they took their jobs and just how locked in that they were. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's
Right.
something. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that's something, man. That's something that I don't see these days, man. Like I grew up before I was really exposed to Mike. Like I got into basketball when I was 5, and around 4 or 5, like I wasn't really cognizant of everything that was going on. But Penny Hardaway was my first favorite player, and
Mm.
then when Mike came back and I witnessed the three-peat, that shifted immediately because
Mm.
a lot of people don't understand the reasons people wear Jordans is not because of the way they look, because the person who inspired the brand is undoubtedly the greatest player who ever touch a basketball, and
Absolutely.
that speaks volumes. It's more than the look. It's more than because they're cool because everybody else has them. It's that Jordan logo, the Jumpman symbol, indicates that that man is the greatest player ever to touch a basketball, and you cannot take
Absolutely.
that away from him. You know,
Right.
6-0 in the finals, never went to a game 7 in the finals.
Never. Kind of like the way I've been doing it out here, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Hey,
you
no
know what
one's
I'm
there to disagree with me, so go ahead.
saying? I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. There's a like it's a reason why he's like the greatest athlete ever, man, because he was just so dominant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's you just gotta respect it. Well, let me take that back. You ain't gotta respect it. You just gotta accept it.
Right. Right. And you know what? And I think also though, and I know a lot of players speak about, Jordan, being who they look up to. Even LeBron said it. And then after Jordan, it was Kobe was the guy that, guys in the 90s look up to, like me, watching basketball. It was Kobe for me. The first jersey I ever, bought was Kobe, and I still have it hanging up behind me right now.
Okay.
Uh, Right, and then you have guys like the 2000s are like, as they got into their 20s, those guys are like, oh, it was LeBron for them, and we get it. And it was
Right.
LeBron, Melo, D Wade. Those were the time for the younger generation. So we get it. But I think to push Bron, just to push LeBron, like I mean, you're pushing my head of Magic Johnson and Kareem and Kobe and all these other great players. When, like you said, the man is 3-6 in NBA Finals. The man's down one, and just let Kyrie bring the ball up the court, and Kyrie took the shot. I'm a big Kyrie fan, big Duke fan, so
Absolutely.
Kyrie one
Absolutely.
of my guys. So, and I love Kyrie taking that shot, but Kobe not giving that ball up.
Kobe.
MJ's not giving that ball up, and we know LeBron's taking some of those. Right? We're not going to say he hasn't, but the fact that there's too many of them that he didn't take as well. Right? There's not one shot of that Jordan passed up when he's wide open or when he's 1-on-1. He's not passing it up, and you shouldn't. If it's 1-on-1 and you're Kobe, you're LeBron, you're MJ, you're Kyrie, you taking those shots. But if
Absolutely.
you passing up a shot when you're not being double teamed and you're supposed to be this superstar, I can't respect that. But I respect his greatness because I've seen enough of it to understand that a man is driven to win. Absolutely, I know he wants to win. We see it every single year. Uh, and as a Lakers fan, honestly, I still can't get behind him since LeBron joined the team, which is pretty sad for me. I know, man. For me, it's that deep. I can't even root for the Lakers no more because LeBron's
Oh
in it.
man, oh man, everybody was able to put their LeBron hate aside when he joined the Lakers because they were more so Lakers fan. Oh, I forgot to mention another thing LeBron did that he can't be the greatest to go for this simple fact, and I forget to mention it. That performance in Dallas for in the finals.
Yeah,
That's not greatest of all time performance. Like you scored like you was held to single
right,
digits. No no no
right,
no 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 no. That's unacceptable
right. In the finals,
in the finals.
in the finals. I mean, this is why you play,
Yes,
but his fans they don't want to talk about that, which is fine. Like I said, he's great. He's one of the greatest to ever play the game. But I think they got
absolutely.
to start that. And somebody needs to go ahead and slap Kendrick Perkins upside the head for all that nonsense he's been talking on TV lately. I know.
Man,
I mean, look, I know he loves Bron because they play together, and he got nothing to get from Jordan. So Jordan don't care about him. So he knew he can get a lot more from LeBron than he can right now from Jordan. So I can see why he's bashing Jordan and supporting LeBron. But come on, he's got to stop that.
yeah, absolutely. And then I'm just really tired of like a lot of these NBA players becoming analysts, because don't get me wrong, they know the game, but
Right.
like they just don't have the diction skills needed to, deliver the points that they
No.
need to, like like some of these opinions are ridiculous, you know.
Right. Hey, but it's good money.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really it's good money. That's all it is. It's good money. Everybody wants it. So one more thing on basketball. There's the news that's coming out the last few days that NBA is looking at just going, playing a couple of games and then going to playoffs and having just the top 20 teams, no East, no West, just line them up like NCAA March Madness does it, having a playing tournament games as well. What do you think about? I like the idea.
they should have been doing this, Johnny. They should have been
No,
doing this.
I know.
They should have been doing this. When you have like when the West has been as stacked as it's been, I want to say, let me see, it's 2020. The West has been stacked for probably the last 10 years, right?
Yep.
Like that should have been happening.
Right.
Um, like it just makes more sense if the NBA were to change up the playoff format to be like March Madness, and not only that, the first round needs to go back to 5 games. I don't want
Right.
to see
Yeah.
them having
5 games. Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? Because now, like I said, like we stated, even in the political conversation, everything is about money. And the league knows they're going to get more money the more games. But
Absolutely.
these are the best players in the world competing at the highest level. I want to see them actually go. Like you have a team, like for example, Golden State used to play the Pelicans in the first round, and they would just be chilling,
Right.
while playing that game. But for example, if let's say the Pelicans went up 2-1 against you, and you got a 5 game series, now
hmm
it's gonna make it interesting. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah, that's how it used to be. I'm not sure why they even move it besides money. Yep.
yeah, so I love it. Like I totally, totally love that there's going to bring that March Madness element into it, but I just wish that like that first round just needs like on all accounts need to be 5 games, and then go to the 7 games for the remaining of the playoffs.
Right. Right. Who's the best player in the league right now? Even with KD, With a healthy KD, who's the best player in the league?
Best player in the league. Oh man, that's tough, man, because I wanna say LeBron, but then but I don't think I don't think KD can be stopped, man.
I agree.
I don't think KD can be stopped, man. KD's just different, man.
I agree. But if you're talking about KD not being stopped, uh, what do you think about James Harden's offense?
I'm kind of, to be honest, I'm torn between Harden sometimes, because sometimes I think he flops on offense because he shoots a lot of free throws a game. He knows how to get to the line, but man, like he's not efficient to me at all. He has some games where he'll score 30, 40 points, but he shoot like 23%, 33% from the field. That's horrible.
Right. So whose fault is that?
Say it again.
Whose fault is that though? When the man's taking that many shots, is not efficient. Whose fault is that?
I mean, that's D'Antoni's system, to be honest.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I was going with that. Everybody keep knocking James Harden. You tell him to go out there and take 35 shots again. What's he supposed to do? Who's going to take 20?
Right,
PJ Tucker going to take 20?
right. That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
you're going to let Daniel House take 20?
Right. And then
If I can take 20, I can take 20. You
Oh,
know,
like there. If I can take 20 shots a game, I'm averaging 20. Like that's no question. Like I'm just being real with you. If I take 20 shots a game and 10 of those are threes, and I don't average
right.
20 points, I shouldn't be in the league.
No, you should be on the bench then. No, you probably be in the league.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
true. That's true. Because they giving out checks in the league these days.
I'm trying to get back in there.
Yeah,
Never been, but I want to get back in. You know. So, but I mean, look, I agree with you. Man. I'm a big KD fan. I was a fan in OKC. I love KD. KD and Russ were my favorite player, right along with Kobe, for a long. And I'm still a big Russell Westbrook fan. I love his intensity. I don't care. They can't tell me nothing about him. Um, and I think it's gotten better this year. Not taking those threes no more.
yeah.
But I mean, I love his game. I love KD. I think he's the best player in the league, and I think Giannis is right behind him. Uh, you know, so for me, those are the top two players in the league, KD and Giannis. And
KD.
now I ask you this, yeah.
Okay.
So between Steph and James Harden, who's better?
Oh, Steph. I'm sorry,
Steph,
because Steph. When I grew up, Steph and I have identical games because I grew up in an
speak on
era.
that.
Yes, I grew up in an era where like I was like I played both positions, the one and the two, but like back in those days, you had to be big. Like the thing
Mm,
is size. Now, as we've seen, the NBA has totally become positionless. You know,
right.
and now when you watch high school ball, watch these kids, man. All they don't even care about dunk. Like back in my day, everybody wanted to dunk. Now everybody want to shoot threes. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I'm taking, like, I would go far as to say that Steph probably another MVP and another championship away from being top greatest point guard ever.
I agree.
I can say that.
I agree. I agree. If they hadn't lost that one, and if they just won last year, I think they'll be talking about Steph being the greatest ever as a point guard. If they had won last year, boy, I think if Clay didn't get hurt, I think they probably could have won last year.
Oh, I think, yeah, I feel that way. I feel if Clay never got hurt, because you didn't expect him to just like, I just feel that whole like series, it was a series of unfortunate events that happened back to back to back to back, and
Hmm.
then it's like okay, cool, like ain't much you can do now, you know.
Right, right. And so where do Kawhi fit in all of that? Because remember, I said for me, it was KD and then Giannis. I'm not really sure who's 3 or 4, but I guess we'll probably put LeBron there and we'll put Kawhi or Steph in there. But what does Kawhi rank in your five? Like, if you give me your top five in the NBA.
My top five in the NBA. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go LeBron. I'm gonna have to go KD. I'm gonna have to go Steph. Um, then I'm gonna have to go AD, Anthony Davis, and then oh man, see, then I probably have to go Giannis. Only because I feel like I've seen Giannis like he's gotten better year after year. You know,
Hmm.
if Giannis ever, and I mean ever, develops a consistent mid-range jumper, it's done. It is over with. It is over with.
But he's consistent though. Have you seen it? It's consistent though.
Man,
I've seen.
they play off of
Listen, I
him though.
watch. Huh?
They play off of Giannis every time. Anytime someone with like great coaching plays Giannis, and they got somebody long that can say like with a long wingspan to check him, they play off him. They make him shoot, and they pack the paint.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why it's making those jumpers though, because they're giving him space to shoot, and he's got to make them, right? Which is the right thing to do. Because if you're playing Steph, what do? You take away the three. You take away the strength, right? Which
Yeah,
is shooting threes, right? And if you're playing Giannis, you got to pack the paint, force him to shoot, right?
yeah,
They still do the same thing with LeBron. You pack the paint. Now that's why KD is different. It's an animal. You can't take anything away, right? You get up on KD, he's driving right by you. You back off, he's letting it fly. You too little, he take you down low. Kind of same thing with Kawhi. So for me, I love Giannis' game. Even without all that jumper, my man still drive like 35 every night.
nothing,
17
nothing but
rebounds.
dunks and layups. Nothing but dunks and
Hey,
layups.
he's making 2 threes a game, right? I
No, he
think
is. He is. But
right,
I'm just saying he's so efficient. He don't even need to shoot jumpers to be efficient.
exactly
That's why
right.
he's
He's just
scary. That's
driving.
why he's so scary to me.
Yes, right. I love his game, man. I love his game. Giannis, KD, Kawhi is kind of like in the middle somewhere for me. I'm not sure where to put him. Like, I love Kawhi, but I can't put him over. I feel like he needs a team, like a special team to win. Uh,
Yeah,
I can't see him taking over an average team and then
I
win.
agree.
I think he need. Yeah, I just feel like he's one of those dudes that you put the right guys around him, then he'll win. But I feel like KD can go on the Knicks today, and the Knicks will make the playoff.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? And I think Giannis can do the same thing. He can go on the Knicks, then makes the playoff. LeBron join the Knicks, then makes the playoff. Put Steph on the Knicks, then makes the playoff. I don't feel the same way with James Harden. I don't feel the same way with Kawhi. I just don't think they go there and make that kind of difference enough for the whole team to play better and for them to win.
Right.
And for me that's why I rank those guys a little higher. I love Steph. I think everybody be a little too harsh on them because they're light skinned like me. Well, I'm not light skinned, but I claim to be. I claim to be light skinned. I don't care. You can't tell me I'm not. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, like we talked about the whole show. Be yourself. Be whoever you want to be. So
Absolutely.
so I'll be Team Light Skin. I don't care. You know what I mean? So,
I feel you.
but yeah, man. Listen, man. While we about to wrap this up, man, just tell the people a little bit more about your campaign. Why you're running, the issues that are more important to you, how they can help. They need to volunteer, donate, your website,
Okay.
all that kind of good stuff. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Again, Barrington Martin II, running for the 5th congressional seat in Georgia. I'm running on a platform, basically delivering the power back to the people as best as I can
Right.
through
Right.
universal health care, through universal guaranteed income, as well as term limits. I feel that as long as I continue to do the things that I'm doing, I can make a promise that um, I will not be in this position for more than 5 terms. And I'm totally confident in myself that, hey, if you don't like what I'm doing, please vote me out. But I got to get in first. So,
Right.
you guys can reach me on my website is votethedream.com. My
RoadToDream.com.
votethedream.com. My Twitter is underscore Barrington. That's underscore BARRINGTONII. So again, that's underscore Barrington the second. That's underscore BARRINGTONII. I don't ask for donations. I don't feel right asking for donations because it's a pandemic going on, and some of you all may be out of work, and I empathize towards your cause. However, the best way you can support me is by basically logging on to votethedream.com, signing up, shoot me an email, connect with me, but give me five. That's my new initiative where I basically tell people that support me to send my information, send my website, send my Twitter to 5 people they know, and then make sure that each of those 5 people send it to another 5 people. And that's basically how you can assist me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it, man. I got a couple of good followers that I'm gonna definitely make sure they retweet this. Make sure they give you a 5 and pass it along. It's the least they can do.
Appreciate it.
But
Appreciate
since he's not gonna ask for money, I'm gonna tell you right now to give the man some money. Okay.
it.
Yeah. OC's not here. OC's the first to donate every candidate, so I'm gonna make sure OC get on that side and donate money.
Absolutely
Uh,
appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I mean, these people funded campaigns, these little folks, man. You need everything you can to make sure your message get out there. So I'll do what I can, and I'll make sure that the people get behind you, man. It's really important. I mean, you're running
Absolutely,
for a great
absolutely.
cause, and it's good to see young black men out here. And I mean, I spoke with Elijah Manley earlier, and he's 21.
Okay.
And he's running for House of Rep in Florida. It's great. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
I mean, 21 years old. Like, I'm like, shouldn't you be like trying to figure out what you want to do with your life? Like,
right.
but my man's like, no, this is what I want to do. Like,
Yeah, I love it.
kudos
I
to you.
love it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's great to see young black men out there, young people in general, black, white, brown, Latino, Asian, whatever it is. And we've talked to a bunch of them, and I love it. It's great. I love the movement that's going on right now. So you keep
Absolutely.
the good work up, man. We keep following you and try to do as well,
Yes, sir.
do as much as we can to support you, man. Appreciate you stopping by, my man.
No, thank you for bringing me on, man. I appreciate it, and I'm extremely grateful, man. You brought me on. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We'll catch up, man. I'm sure we'll stay connected.
Always, always.
All right, my man.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Point Noted Podcast with Johnny B and Rashad B. Follow us on Twitter at PTNoted and Instagram at Point Noted. Hit the subscribe and follow button to follow us and check out more episodes of us talking a whole bunch of shit. You've been noted.